Welcome to the Exit 58 podcast, a show about pop culture, tech, politics, and anything else they can come up with.
Hey everybody, it's Derek from the Exit 58 podcast, here to bring you a very, very special edition of our show. But before we get there, a few housekeeping issues. Obviously, we have not been around as of late to record a new podcast. Our deepest apologies. There's been a lot going on scheduling-wise. It has been an absolute nightmare to put us all together in the same place at the same time. I've been all over the place. Rob's been all over the place. Kaz has been all over the place. So it's been very difficult for us to get together, even the two of us, just to record a show. So we'll be back next week in group form to once again bring you another outstanding edition of the Exit 50A podcast. But until then, we do have something to tie you over. Now, just to kind of give you a quick backstory on what you're about to hear, and obviously you've seen the description, so you know what the show's about. I had emailed Kaz and Rob, and we were trying to figure out a way for us to do a show coming up. And the schedule thing, again, it was kind of tricky. And I said, what if we just did a best of show and threw that out there just to, let people know, hey, we're still alive and we're still actually going to do a show at some point. And they said, sure, makes sense. I was like, okay. And I'm thinking, all right, I'll just throw together some quick clips of, maybe we'll do Halloween theme or something, or maybe we'll do, I don't know, something, gross story, something related to that. And then we can kind of put together a quick show and then, get down to business when we all get back together. But then as the days went on and I'm starting to put this together, I said, wait a minute. The calendar's turned to November. And the calendar has slowly but surely turned to the 1-year anniversary of Donald Trump becoming the president of the United States. And I thought to myself, well, it would be pretty easy to do a show all on DJT. I know what you're thinking, oh my God, I can't listen to an hour of rhetoric of Donald Trump. I understand that, but this will do a couple of things. Number one, if you listen to this podcast, it may infuriate you. However, you may also laugh, and you may also think, and you may also be entertained by what you hear. Because one of the key things about this next hour and change of the show is how the character and the essence of Donald Trump has changed or not at all. And some of the clips you're going to hear are from the show right after the night he was elected. We're going to go back into the inauguration, and we're going to jump around to a few spots from the Trump administration so far, including a couple of special editions of Off the Exit. So this is just a little taste, if you will, of the best or worst of Donald J. Trump. Enjoy. Please.
It's morning in America again.
What? The Quad City DJs are
of course.
making an appearance on the podcast. I have a feeling you'll hear them a few times.
Multiple times.
And in all seriousness, I am not hiding underneath my bed, underneath the covers. I'm here in the Exit 58 podcast studios. Kaz is here as well. Rob is actually not here.
I'm not actually right there. So.
He's at, are you at Trump headquarters? Where are you?
I actually am. I'm helping him put together his cabinet.
Rob is pulling a Hillary. He just didn't show up.
Yeah. I'll be there tomorrow morning sometime around like 10:30.
Well, before we get...
How many times did Hillary, while she was curled up in the fetal position in her hotel on election night crying, how many times did she use the N-word?
Oh, what?
Where were you? You show up for Obama, but not me.
Oh, jeez.
How many times? After all I did, I kept some hot sauce in my purse. I gave you some of your favorite musicians. Your Jay-Z. I gave you Jigga.
I gave you
I
Jigga.
gave,
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to all of that in 1 second because there's so many interesting things from Tuesday night that I want to discuss, and that literally could be its own show. Hell, by the time we get done with this, it might even be its own show.
Could be.
Who knows? Let's start Tuesday night. I want you to take me through your experiences with Tuesday night.
Go ahead, Didge. You start, babe.
Okay, so Tuesday evening, the night of the election, I happened to be at good old Frailer String Band practice. There's a free plug this show. And as we were sort of getting doing our rehearsal thing, and basically I had my phone was away in my saxophone case, but I had this new fancy Apple Watch, so my wrist was like vibrating with all these different updates. And of course, thanks to the hardworking Derek Jones, who was updating the Exit 58 podcast Twitter account, because that was my sole source for all news that related to the election. I happened to look down, and it's like, all right, I see Exit 58 is reporting X, Y, and Z, and I'm telling my buds around me, and then I start to see the market start to tank. The futures market starts to go down. I'm like, could he really pull this off? And then Exit 58 reports he got Ohio and Florida, and it was just going crazy. And guys that are supposed to be paying attention to, what was going on at rehearsal are kind of milling about on their cell phones. And then the next thing you know, we had a couple cold ones afterwards, watched some of the coverage, and then I stayed up until about 1 o'clock to see what was going on. And I really could not believe what was going on.
I actually posted my electoral map that morning, and I thought Hillary would get in the neighborhood of 280. I think I had somewhere like that. I thought it was going to be a close race. Oh heck, when we did our last podcast, Jones, we were joking at the end, and you said, my seat might be empty if a certain someone wins, and I said, come on, you could say that because you know that Trump is a big underdog. We talking in football lexicon, he'd be a double digit underdog going in. I think most people kind of believe that. Shocked. I was shocked. Now, once we started to see those Rust Belt states and how the vote was turning out in those and how Florida was turning out, I think a lot of people started to S a brick in their pants. Or like,
yeah.
Oh man, no, oh no. And my prediction going in was that if she won Pennsylvania, that if he won Pennsylvania, he was going to win the election. That's how it turned out. Listen, election night for me is kind of like the Super Bowl. I eat it up. I love that kind of stuff. I had my Chromebook out. I was following about 4 or 5 different Twitter accounts of people who I enjoy reading their political takes. I had remote in hand, flipping around CNN, C-SPAN, Fox, ABC, all of them, flipping back and forth, jumping around. I had my little blank United States map of my 2 crayons. I was coloring the states in. I loved it.
Old school.
When I started doing that when I was 8 years old. Bush Dukakis, 1988 was my first experience doing that, and I kind of tried to do that ever since, and it's fun. But I loved it. Cracked open a beer at 11 o'clock when it looked like Hill Dog was about to go into the dumpster, and I enjoyed the rest of the night. I made it till about 2 a.m. because I wanted to hear a concession speech. I hate going to bed before everything's decided. I want to see it happen. I want to hear the people. And when she sent her her lackey in there to basically send people home and kiss them goodnight and stuff like that, I said, you got to be kidding me. So after Pennsylvania called, I said sayonara. It was about 2:15.
Well, Derek, your fingers had to be like numb by the time you were tweeting so much that night.
Well, it's okay. So going into that, I wasn't 100% sure I was going to handle it from our end, because you almost have to take it and kind of feel it out, because there's so much stuff going on. Now, I was here originally when the polls closed, the first run-through closed. I was at the station where I work because the students were going through and doing election night coverage. So they have CNN on and NBC on in the back, in the exec staff office, so they're checking out the election, and they're doing reports on the local stuff. So you're seeing as it's going back and forth, it's tight. Now, when I left right around 8 o'clock, and somebody had Google up, and their run through of the different states. And Hillary, at that particular moment in time, was leading in Florida, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. So, and it was very early on. So, yeah, I mean, things changed. So I said, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. But I mean, I'm leaving thinking, all right, this is not going to be Donald Trump's night at all. We'll go home and take it from there. So as I get home and I start doing, different things, posting or whatever, you start to see him pick up the usual states. The first focus to me was Florida.
Yeah.
And when you saw that he was opening up, when he took the lead in Florida and then started to open up a little bit, and you keep seeing that precincts reporting number at the bottom.
Right.
Triangle offense.
Yeah, you knew she was in trouble. And the thing a lot of people had said going in beforehand was that Hillary could win if she did not have Florida. So when he won Florida, I was like, okay. But the one thing you kept hearing was the Hispanic turnout was great in Florida. You kept hearing those type of things, and she wasn't doing well. And then you saw North Carolina, and that flipped. And when North Carolina flipped, that was and then Ohio, obviously, you could see. But in the back of your mind, you're still thinking, okay, she's going to get PA. At worst, she'll split Minnesota and Wisconsin. And then you see maybe she gets Nevada, and then things turn around. But it just didn't. And I'll tell you what, man, we were talking about this a little bit beforehand. They would not call it. I knew it was, and I'm not just saying this. I thought that thing was over at maybe 10:30.
You could have let us know.
Yeah, I'll have to go back. Maybe if we have time, I'll go back and dig up the timeline. But I thought this was a wrap by 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Yes.
I was already knee deep in a second cranberry and vodka.
Oh, my goodness. Hello. That's the way to enjoy an election right there.
Two things about Florida, and I think people started to get giddy because Trump did have that lead in Florida, and then she bounced back once Miami, Dade County, all that kind of stuff started coming in. But what people forget about Florida is that panhandle is in the central time zone. And all those panhandle votes, the redneck Riviera, where do you think those votes are going? The Trump train, baby. And as soon as 8 o'clock hit or 9 o'clock hit, boom, all those votes came in and Trump rose to the top again there. So that was a fun and interesting state to watch. And you mentioned the Hispanic vote. And this is the thing that kind of drives me crazy about this election and every election cycle is the Hispanic vote. We love to put everybody in a box. The politicians do it, media does it, we do it, harmlessly and not in a devious way. But we love to put people in a box and ascribe some sort of unilateral thought process to all of them, as if all Hispanics are going to do this. Number one, Hispanic is split into Dominican, Puerto Rican, Cuban. Cubans, the majority of Cuban immigrants living in Florida voted for Trump. Trump won the Cubans overwhelmingly. Yeah. Love my Cubans. Love the cigars. Very, very, really good cigars. But how many of these stupid pie charts do we have to see? College-educated white women with 2 children who have 3 divorces vote Trump. And it's like, dude, climb off of this. So stupid. It's like, Jones, it's like saying that you and, like if we had a room full of black people, do all of those black people think the same way? If it's you and Stanley L. and Jay-Z, you all are different people and probably all voted differently.
We've never even disclosed that Derek was black. This is the first time, I guess.
Wait a minute. So the Rowan Black Jazz Night was not the
the tip off?
No, that was still theater of the mind.
Still mystery. Damn it, I'm sorry. Can we edit that out? Edit that part out.
You're right. I mean, we put a lot of people in that box, and that was one of the debates I've heard post. Maybe so much attention was paid to that, and they got so little return for it that they forgot to pay attention to the working class voter, and that's obviously an issue.
Well, and the other thing, Derek, I'm sorry to jump in here, but like the other thing is these polls that came out. I know there was one that actually was legitimately and pretty much accurate with some of the polling information they said, but it's so antiquated. The way they're kind of conducting a lot of these polls. I mean, these poll numbers had her out, and at least the media was reporting it such, that they had her out to be smooth sailing, and this was going to be an easy win for her. And I just think that the way they're doing it, if you're still doing a poll by the phone, you need to re-look at that because nobody has phones anymore. You know what I mean? The method of the surveying is just off, and I think that provided some of that false that false sense of security for her and her team.
We need to get some of the nerds who do all the analytics in baseball and hockey and stuff like that, and get some of those nerds into the polling game.
What's Sam Hinkie doing?
So half of Americans basically sat home. And that's where I have a problem. People are getting all uppity and angry about the fact that how dare people vote for Trump? What are they thinking? What about the, million people who stayed at home? They have the culpability. You shouldn't be shaming people who exercise their right to vote. You should be shaming people who stayed at home and could have offered a change into the numbers at the end of the night. That's where the real thing, that's where the real problem lies with anyone who has issue with what happened here. And all these, kids taken to the street and protesting and not my president. Well, you know what? Like you said, Jones, the Clinton cartel, they took for granted a lot of. They thought they were going to ride that Obama wave and get all those Obama voters out.
That's what they tried to do.
And those Obama people, for the most part, stayed at home.
There were two warning signs to me that somebody knew something was afoul heading into this, at least to me. The day before the election, there was a story that came out in the Daily News that said she and her camp had canceled the fireworks display that was supposed to take place outside of the Javits Center. That's really weird to me. If you think you're going to win, why would you do that?
That place looked sick, didn't it? That Javits Center?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful place. Wow.
We were spared the agony of having to hear 10 billion different jokes, comments, stories about how she broke the glass ceiling. And the Javits Center has a glass ceiling. And she just broke the glass ceiling. Glass ceiling, glass ceiling. Thank God.
No, I want to make the statement now, though. I would look, I'm going to allow people to have 1 week of complaining, right? Get it out of your system, because right now I have a great boss, right? She, like any other boss, she's demanding at times, but it is what it is. If I can not get a 30-minute phone call into work where 20 minutes of the phone call is her complaining about what she's got to tell her grandkids now and how upset her daughter is and everything, guys, get it out of your system. You have 1 week. We'll give you 1 week. Hit the Trump train music, Kaz. Hit it. You get 1 week. There you go. You get 1 week. Ride the train. You get it. Yeah, you get 1 week to get it out of your system, and then you get back to life.
And not for nothing, not all men are kind of cut from the same cloth, and some are more honorable than other. The same rings true for women, and she's like, the crud at the bottom of the keg. And we can do it. If you're a woman, we can do much better than that.
And it's going to be very interesting to see how his presidency rolls out, because he has a chance to be remembered as one of the worst figures in American history or one of the best.
Yep.
And I don't think there's going to be any in between.
And if I hear one more person ask me, why don't we have the Electoral College? I don't understand.
Yeah,
she got more votes. It's not fair. I heard that one. This is 10th grade history. 10th grade. You learn this pretty much in 10th grade if you're paying attention, why we have the Electoral College. You want me to boil it down for you? Unless you want California and New York deciding every president in those major population centers, that's why we have the Electoral College. Okay? It's not very hard to understand.
Yeah. You can, and you look at where Hillary won a lot of those states by large margins on the coast. Okay? So you have to take some value in the middle of the country, right or wrong. You have to do it. So it has to be done in some fair way in the Electoral College. I understand why people who don't look into it say that, but the reasoning is pretty simple.
Welcome to the Exit 58 podcast.
I'm not going to be able to succeed in life now.
Right. And that was true yesterday as well. Nothing that happened last night changed your course. You're still going to work at WAWA.
Can you add that?
That's
Derek,
a
can you
promo
add that
cut.
clip?
I'm rolling tape right now.
Oh, God, please.
For more of the Exit 58 podcast, head to soundcloud.com and search Exit 58 Podcast. Off the exit.
Back here on the Exit 58 podcast. I'm just finishing up my Scafidi cookie, and
How was it? Delicious?
it was phenomenal. Really, really good. Really great.
Oh, you shared it with Donald? Donald, you had some?
It's almost of Trump quality. Almost. Okay. Well, in case you hadn't heard, there is a new president-elect in the land, Donald J. Trump. The Trump train's coming, ladies and gentlemen, like it or not. And apparently a lot of people don't like that, especially in the entertainment community. So we thought it'd be great to, in a literal, in a figurative sense, I should say, round up all of these people and get them the hell out of here as quickly as possible. So we, in memoriam, we now bid happily adios to each of the following who, again, promised to leave the country if Donald J. Trump won. So, submitted for your approval, off the exit, we say adios to Lena Dunham. Mwah, bye-bye. Amy Schumer, I'll drive you to the airport. Al Sharpton, I will strap you to my back and run you to the border. Snoop Dogg, I don't want him to go. I want him to. He's too important to our.
And he was on the podcast 2-3 episodes ago.
Can't get rid of a
I
guest.
ain't going nowhere, dog. I heard you was eating some Scoop Dog last week. Ooh wee. So far this year, you've had Snoop Dogg and Scoop Dog. Holla.
Scoop Dog. I just got that.
You a little bit slow on the uptake. You need to scale back on the beer, cousin.
I like both Snoop Dogg and Scoop Dogg. So
Both delicious with mac and cheese, by the way.
yeah,
Baba Streisand. Babs is leaving us.
she can go as far as I'm concerned. She could have gone before all this.
Yeah, really. Yeah. See, look at all Trump has accomplished so far.
Yeah, really. He had even the first 100 days.
Walter White, Mr. Bryan Cranston, setting sail.
I don't know who that is, so I don't know a lot of these people. So
You're
I
not
apologize.
familiar with Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay, yes. I know.
How about Nev Campbell, Party of Five fame, House of Cards, also a brief stint on Mad Men. Cher,
Peace.
Miley Cyrus.
Double peace.
Miley Cyrus released a video, I believe that was on Instagram, with her crying about, having to accept that Donald Trump is now the president-elect.
As they say on the Twitterverse, her tears taste like gumdrops.
People are saying that?
I've still someone say that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
We'll have one less funny man, Jon Stewart.
You mean John Leibowitz? John Leibowitz is going to be leaving? That's a shame. That's his name. Did you know that? John Leibowitz?
Yes.
Is he ashamed to be Jewish? Is that why he's Jon Stewart? Leibowitz isn't classy enough for Hollywood?
The burn is hard right there.
Bye-bye, Leibowitz. Bye.
Chelsea Handler.
Oh, absolutely.
Who cares? Yeah, no
Shove
care.
her in the overhead compartment.
Neo, also gone.
Great. I never knew you existed, but adios. See you later.
The flight crew is starting to put the the closing on the overhead bins here as we say goodbye to Raven Simone. Oh, that's so Raven of her.
No.
Oh. That's so Raven.
No, Olivia. We can't let Olivia go.
I know. Yeah, we can. George Lopez. Adiosito.
Now, I guess he won't be going to Canada, right? I would assume he's going to Mexico, no?
Yeah, that's what I would assume too. And I would assume he'd try to be going to another cable channel as well to kind of find somebody able to pick up his show. I don't find him
Do
funny.
they have the WB down in Mexico?
I think so. Oh, it's called the WWE Bay. Samuel L. Jackson. He's taking his snakes on a plane and getting out of there.
Can he pick up Spike Lee on the way, like that commercial?
Yes. He can pick up. He can also swing by and pick up Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, hallelujah!
Whoopi Goldberg jumped the shark. I want to say it was about 10 years ago, maybe.
10. It was after Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can say later days.
Wait, are you talking about Karen Johnson? I don't know Whoopi. I know a Karen Johnson. I don't know Whoopi Goldberg.
Man, you're going hard. You're going after the government names.
Her voter ID says Karen Johnson, by the way. It doesn't say Whoopi Goldberg. So when she showed up to vote, I mean, they probably didn't ask her for her ID because no one asked for the ID anymore. But if she had to show it would say Karen Johnson on it. Karen with a C, by the way.
Now, Keegan-Michael Key is also leaving us. Am I saying that right?
He's got to stay. We got to talk to him. He's got to stay. He's a funny guy.
Is he?
Key and Peele. Ever seen that show?
He's got a lot of.
I do. I do like.
He's got a lot of names.
Yeah.
That's too long for me to look up.
Finally, Natasha Leone, as we bid her a fond farewell, adieu, as she is also leaving the country after the good old Trump victory on Tuesday. We bid these all actors and actresses all well, and we wish them well on their new path wherever they may land.
Do you hear that in the distance? Do you hear that whistle?
What is that whistle?
Oh, it's the train. It's pulling into the station. Hey, Whoopi, let me help you with your bag. Oh, Lena, here. You know what? I made you a sandwich so you wouldn't get hungry on the train. There you go.
Oh, my God.
You pig.
Oh, Jesus.
It's peanut butter. I hope you have an allergy. How about that?
Don't forget Raven Simone.
Raven. Olivia. Get out of here. Beat it. Scram. You unpatriotic imp. Get out of my country.
So the Trump train is taking them all to the airport. How about that? That's even nice. He's taking them to the airport.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Fly him out of here on the Trump jet. How about that?
Yeah. The Trump train is steamrolling people right now. My goodness.
Like it has this whole podcast, right?
See, we were right. Look how racist they are. It's so racist. You're making fun of it. It's serious. Hillary's glass ceiling is broken. It's not fair. You're making fun of it. What about gay people? And what about black Muslim queer people? What about them? What am I going to tell my daughter? Imbecile. Act like an adult that you are and talk to your child. Why does social media have to coach you how to talk to your 5-year-old kid, you moron?
Thank you for listening to episode 10 of the Exit 58 podcast.
Woo! Off the exit with a special post-election interview with a millennial and one of our roving correspondents who was out there in the scene, if you will, at the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia, Kelly Green. Kelly, how are you?
I'm great, thanks.
So the reason I have you on is I wanted to get your thoughts on the election, and we've obviously talked a lot about it off the air, if you will. There's a lot of distress and unrest with the millennials, your age group. Why the anger? Please explain the anger and the distrust of Donald Trump.
He's a monster. He's nothing short of Hitler, pretty much, for this time period. He says things that are just blatantly racist, sexist, you name it. But I'm just appalled at how he's managed to get away with it. How did our country decide that it was okay to elect someone who's setting this kind of example? I feel like we've really lowered our standards, and it's shocking and disappointing.
So the heavy right, the Republican side, okay, the traditional Republicans, there are some that don't like Donald Trump. There are others, though, who are in firm support of them. I've talked to some who have said, hey, just because I support Donald Trump, that doesn't mean I'm racist or misogynistic or any of those things. What do you say about that? Do you feel like that's an inappropriate label to put on people who support Trump?
They're saying that they themselves aren't this type of person. However, they don't care about people who are being affected by this. Like, you don't have to be a racist to vote for Donald Trump, but you're saying that you don't care about your friends of color because you just said that you're okay with having Donald Trump run the country.
What do you think about the protesting and the violence as well that's happening post-election?
I mean, civil disobedience is necessary to help create change. Martin Luther King even said that. I would never go as far as to be violent, but I'm also, somewhat privileged, I guess you could say. Maybe I haven't been pushed to the point of being that angry where I feel like those means are necessary. So I don't support violence, but I guess I could kind of understand why it's gotten to that point.
There are people in your age group who do support Donald Trump. Why do you think that is?
I honestly think they don't know any better. I know some of my friends who support him have just been raised in a certain type of environment, and they kind of take on their parents' political beliefs. Maybe they're not questioning them or asking themselves what it is that they truly believe in. Some people that support him are uneducated. They don't understand that there are problems outside of their own little world or their own little community. Where we live, it's easy to say that it's 2016 and racism doesn't exist and sexism doesn't exist and all people are equal. But you go a little further outside of where we live and you're seeing Confederate flags and hate symbols and people being mistreated and getting shot by police officers.
The violent crimes that are taking place involving pro-Trump people. Do you think this is what is going to happen for the next 4 years? We're just going to have a litany of pro-Trump people being aggressive and really causing some unfortunate situations in society?
I hope not, but so far that's what's happening. So I guess only time will tell. I would really hope not. I know Donald Trump has told people to stop it, but it's like, how can you have this horrible, hateful campaign and bring out all these closet racists and then all of a sudden be like, oh no, I won, like you can stop now. You made people feel like it was okay to come out and be open with these horrible beliefs.
Give me a message here to the downtrodden, the people who are upset about Hillary Clinton losing and the Democratic Party now being in extreme disarray. What do you say to those people who are feeling badly about themselves and the state of the country right now?
I say that we're not defeated. Nothing is over. It's just a new fight that we have to take on now. And right now is more important than ever to really use your voice and don't let people silence you. Keep fighting because deep down, you know you're doing it for the right reasons.
And you were afraid to do this interview. You were afraid. That was very well spoken. Very nice. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Julia Kantner. Julia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. So you were one of the people who had a somewhat disappointed reaction to Donald Trump winning the presidency. Take me through your thoughts about him as president and your reaction to that day.
Okay. Well, so I was actually at the station that Tuesday night during the election covering the event for the station. And as I was watching the results, my heart kind of sank a little as I realized that Hillary Clinton wasn't going to be making a comeback to the election. And I was never really the biggest fan of her, but I learned to agree with her and like what she's saying and support her in this campaign. I can confidently say that I would have thought she could have been a very good president. And when I saw Donald Trump win, I guess you could say I was kind of scared because like my thoughts were all, what if we regress instead of progressing? All these years we progressed, I feel like, with new laws. I guess my fear is that, especially with Donald Trump's rhetoric he used throughout his entire campaign, is that a lot of the things that we worked towards moving forward, such as minorities, women, and even the LGBTQ community, I'm worried about the rights for those people and how, if they're going to be affected at all with Donald Trump's presidency, especially with his vice president, Mike Pence, being very, very conservative, and his cabinet is appearing to be more on the conservative side too, which is a little scary to see how that will work.
And actually, I've heard this rally cry from some people about losing or lack of opportunities. Can you explain that? Like, what do you think might happen?
I think my biggest fear is for, obviously, equality in gay marriage, because that was only just passed fairly recently. I remember the day it was passed, and I'm pretty sure I was here at the station when I found that out. So it was very recently. I've only been at the station for the last year or two. So to see that might be taken away is very like heartbreaking in a way, because I have friends in the LGBTQ community. I'm worried for them. And even as a woman, as a young woman in today's day and age, and especially Donald Trump's rhetoric towards women, I've always was not a fan of him because of that. And even with Roe versus Wade and how like our rights going to be taken away with Planned Parenthood, which even Mike Pence has said that he wants to shut down Planned Parenthood, and that scares me.
What are your feelings on the protests that we've seen so far? There's a lot of violent stuff that's taken place during the protests, and all kinds of crazy things have happened in the last week since he won the presidency. What's your feeling on that?
I'm all for peaceful protest and being able to stand up for what you believe in, but when it becomes violent or even vandalizing or even dangerous, because I've seen people just becoming violent, that's when it becomes an issue for me, because I feel like it's no longer peaceful. Once it crosses that line, it becomes violent and is like affecting other people directly, even like people that might not be involved in what they're trying to protest. That's when it becomes an issue. I know there's a hashtag Rape Melania, which is
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh my God, Derek, I saw that. It was on the internet. Okay. Well,
That's an actual thing?
yeah, that was actually trending for a day or two. So, especially that, I find disgusting because, yes, I am not the biggest fan of Donald or Melania Trump, but I would never, ever condone saying something as vile as rape somebody on the internet, of all places. So, when it becomes like that, that's when I have an issue, and I'm kind of in a way ashamed. I'm like, oh gosh, like this just makes this look worse in a way, because people already look at liberals as the crazy left-wing hippie liberal ways, like the people that are kind of out there because we're more into progressing and when these actions are brought to light, it kind of sheds a bad light on liberals, and that's what I think scares me a little, is that I'm a liberal, and seeing that makes me wonder, like, because we're not really helping the cause by doing that.
There's a thought out there that millennials, their opinion really isn't that important. You hear from the middle part of the country and certain other people on the right who are saying, like, well, they're just whiny, they're just being difficult, they're complaining, yada, yada, yada. Do you feel like, A, that your voice has been properly heard? If not, how do you go about doing so?
It's hard to say because how things have been progressing, I guess, through the election. I actually saw that millennials all actually went to vote this year, which is amazing to see that. The turnout between ages 18 and 25, I believe, was very good this year. So I think that's cool that millennials in a way got to vote, but what disappoints me is the fact that our vote was kind of overshadowed by the Electoral College and those that are in the power. I don't know, it's a system. But I feel like for millennials to get their way, not to get their way, but to get their voice heard and to get the message across, they should continue to speak out and fight for what they believe in. Maybe not fight as in protest and hurt people, but make issues known, talk about it, spread the word on social media, Facebook, share articles that share your view, post statuses that share your view. Just as long as it's a good view. Don't spread hate. That's don't be hateful, but just try to spread the message across. Just keep making it known. I think that's the best way is to do it. Talk about it, bring attention to people who don't know. I know, for example, I've been talking to people who are ignorant to what's going on, and when I tell them, they're kind of I calmly tell them actually no, this is what's going on, and people they'll respond to that. They'll see that if you tell them, they'll take the time to listen sometimes.
Thanks for joining me.
No problem. Exit 50A for life.
Subscribe to the Exit 50A podcast on iTunes and Stitcher by searching Exit 50A podcast.
So people are being bullied into not wearing a political shirt. People are being bullied into not performing at the inaugural concert. People are being bullied about going to the inauguration. People are being bullied about who here, raise your hands, who voted for Trump? Out yourselves right now, you pervert. What the hell is going? Where the hell are we? And these are the same people who are accusing Trump voters and Trump of the rise of fascism, the rise of Nazi Germany. That's exactly the type of shit that we're dealing with from the. Oh, you better fess up right now that you voted for Trump. You better out yourself. Why? So you can beat me in the public square? What the hell is this? What is this nonsense?
It's a lot of bully ball.
Of course it is.
It's classic.
The same people who want peace and love want to be the bullies when it doesn't fit their narrative. Now go screw yourself. I voted for Trump. Come and get me. Come and get me. Do something to me. I'm not going to wear the shirt, but come and get me.
And we're all for peaceful protests, though. Like, there's currently there's, I guess, a protest going on outside our window that we're recording the show.
Right.
No, there's one out in Washington
there
right
goes
now.
the hat right now.
Oh, no.
There goes the hat.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So I am receiving, as we are talking about this,
Yes.
I have just received correspondence.
Is it
from-
Intel?
No, this is not Intel. This is from
I think I
is
see the
from
same
Bruce
correspondence.
Hummer.
Yes.
Ooh.
Who's a frequent listener. I was on the Christmas Eve show, by the way.
And by the way, he made me laugh.
He did.
We have to maybe feature him semi-regularly, I think. We have to bring him back.
On this show or just the Christmas Eve show?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Christmas Eve, yeah, right. Definitely next year.
Yeah, he's booked.
And 11 months from now, we should see him again.
I already booked him, I think,
Good.
like 12 hours later.
Good.
He says.
Is he listening to us live right now, by the way?
No, I thought he was. When I
Or
saw
is he streaming live somewhere right now?
I thought he
do
was when
that.
I saw that popped up. When I saw that pop up, oh boy!
What did he say?
What happened?
What did he say?
This is going to be bad. He is wondering why my place of employment is at the Women's March in Washington.
Yes.
What happened to being non-biased?
That's a great
And I see
question.
some other people that are chiming in as well.
It's a great question, boss.
Yes, it's a news event.
I guess so.
It is a news event.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
Wherever there's injustice, you and your family will be there.
Okay, that's great.
Just kidding.
This
This is great, though. It makes for great stuff.
So I assume you fellows, at least for some portion of the day, either listen to coverage or watch coverage of the inauguration
Yes.
and the many inauguration balls, the inauguration parade, all this other stuff. What were your takeaways, Derek?
I watched. I'd say I watched about 75% of the stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a problem with the actual content. I think that the problem going into this event was a lot of the commentary, depending on what you were listening to, was kind of hoping it was a failure.
That's why I watched it on C-SPAN. I love C-SPAN.
C-SPAN was yes.
C-SPAN
was great.
It just shows you the event that's going on. It's not interrupted by all these cackling talking heads or naysayers or Trump, cheerleaders or any of these. You can just take it for what it is. The screen's not cluttered with all these scrolls and graphics. You can actually watch the event and draw your own conclusions and have your own takeaways from it. So I didn't have to deal. CNN was a clown show. I know
Well,
that kept popping up.
too many
30 people on set
you had
there.
Wolf Blitzer talking about, well, what happens if Trump gets assassinated? Now, who would take control? It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You couldn't watch
float that out
Fox
there.
because everyone's wearing like the red MAGA hats. MSNBC, those people are just lunatics over there. So really,
we're gonna get back to that.
There was really no safe harbor to watch it unless you turned on something like C-SPAN.
Yeah, I watched C-SPAN and CBS.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the two things. I did watch MSNBC before the event began, and this going back to my point about the commentary being shifted or whatever one way. Like Chris Matthews was
drunk,
borderline. He wasn't irate, but he was very unhappy.
With what?
He didn't have a thrill going up his leg yesterday, is what you're saying.
He was very unhappy that Trump would not button his jacket.
Oh, my gosh. Really?
That's what
Is
he
that
was
how
on
we're
about.
picking it apart now?
When he was with Obama and they're doing, the Obamas and the Trumps greet each other, he was upset that Trump's jacket was open. He thought that was unprofessional.
Okay. Chris Matthews is unprofessional because he shows up to work soused most of the time. You see him, his hair it looks like he was in a windstorm. He's got a gin blossom on his face. Guy's a disgrace.
What do you think was in that box, by the way, that Michelle got from
I don't know,
Melania?
but she
What do
looked
you
like
think
she
it
was flustered. She didn't know what to do with it.
I know. She
Yeah,
she looked at the camera real quick, like, what do I do with this?
I'm sure it wasn't Obama mints.
No, it was not. No,
Maybe it was a Trump shirt. Make America Great Again.
Trump cufflinks, yeah.
It was a bedazzled Make America Great Again T-shirt for
A brooch. A Trump brooch. Diamond-encrusted Trump brooch.
Could have been that. Could have been. My vote is for like a picture frame.
She looked fantastic, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
Melania.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
did.
She
that
looked
was amazing.
tremendous.
yes.
Yes.
Ivanka looked pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I guess Chris Matthews making fun of Trump's jacket was the least of his offenses. I mean, the guy was, basically commenting when George W. Bush hugged shook hands and embraced one of the Supreme Court justices. Well, of course, he's the only reason now he was a president because of the Supreme Court because he lost. People like him still hung up they're still hung up, the MSNBC types, on 2000. They're still hung up on that.
Oh, yeah, they've been talking about
this
that
to them
forever.
is a continuation of that.
Yeah.
And may I just say, it is disgraceful that so many people refuse, so many public employees, elected public officials did not go to the inauguration. You don't represent yourself when you're elected to office. You represent your constituency. And as long as one person in your constituency voted for Trump, you owe it to that one person to be there. Put your own feelings aside. It's grandstanding. I don't know.
Well,
I don't like it.
To me, if the former presidents show up, you can show up too.
Sure, of
I mean,
course.
that to me is
Yeah.
that's the cut line.
The only
if you know,
embarrassing.
obviously the only president that really physically is unable to show up right now is George Herbert Walker Bush.
Yes, prayers to the Bush family.
Yes,
It's very
absolutely.
sad. Yeah.
Outside of that, like if they're going to show, if Hillary Clinton's there,
Right.
you're behind needs to be there.
100%.
If she's the only person to me who had maybe an out to say, I don't need to do this.
Right.
I can get that if she didn't show up.
But would she have been blasted in the press?
She
though?
would have been
Oh.
Uzi'd by the
Well, she's trying to make another. Because she's got a New York run to go on here. So
No,
she's
no more. No
She
more.
is. No, she
Hillary,
is. We'll
no.
have correspondence
No,
inside.
no,
2020, bitches.
no more. No, I
The
can't
only
do it.
thing I found
Can't
about
do it
yesterday, and it's not so much anything about Trump in particular. It was the pomp and circumstance of just the entire ceremony. I found it, and I know it's tradition, so it follows a certain track. I just found it all to be way just over the top, too much.
It
like
was a lot.
I want it to just be come out, shake the hands, do the speech, and then go just do the thing, man. Forget all these like we stand up and we do this like presentation of the roses, or we say this
Yeah.
and we say that, and then we have this band play. It just was all too much for me. And I know it probably happens with every inauguration, but to me, it's like it's too much show.
Well, I said to Becky last night, I mean, we're like, falling asleep. It's like, 10 o'clock at night, and they're still going strong. They're at their first of 3 or 4 different presidential balls, and it's like, how do these people have the stamina to do it?
My dad said the same thing this morning. He
I'm
said he
exhausted
didn't know
just
how-
watching them.
Yeah, he said he doesn't know how. He really believes like they have to be under the spell of something to be able to do that, because it's like, so Trump does all that yesterday.
Yeah.
You turn on your TV, he's at a church service this morning.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm exhausted after
can you
sending
let the-
emails
can
at
you
work.
let the guy- Can
Yeah,
we
right.
let it doesn't matter who's in office. Can you let the president of the United States like sleep the day at?
Can he sleep in?
Can he sleep in till noon? Like,
Well,
it's
his
crazy to
plan
me.
is those first 100 days. So 101 day he can sleep. 'Cause
Yeah,
he wants
yeah.
to bang out. Monday he's got his first. He did his first executive order yesterday,
Yeah.
but he's got more stuff to come.
Right. The thing I found most deplorable, about that
See how he slides that in there.
about the coverage was there's too much attention being paid to the kid, to Trump's
We
son.
were talking about that.
Yes.
I don't stop talking, and I don't mean like he shouldn't be mentioned at all, but the tone in which he is mentioned.
Apparently he's
is
getting
like,
slammed.
yeah, it's like, why is he being left by himself? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why he's only 10 years. Look, you can't. You're not his parents. That's not your place.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell
Stop
opened that Pandora's box.
Yeah.
When she questioned, he must be autistic.
You know what? If he is,
Whose business is that?
it's not your business. That's the parents to deal with. I don't need to hear political analysts give me a breakdown of like, why is he he's all by himself. Look, he'll be fine. He'll be okay. That's not your job. He's standing there with brother, sister, all these folks. He'll be okay. Stop. It just was weird.
And not to mention, he's got a cool freaking name, Baron. Wouldn't you want to be a Baron?
Yeah.
His hair was tremendous.
His hair's tremendous
Oh my
for his
God, I
I'll
age.
tell
love
you
this
what, for a
haircut.
10-year-old
Tremendous
kid,
hair.
people act as if either his finger was up his nose the whole time, or his face was buried in his iPhone, or he was, For a 10-year-old kid, I mean, here he is walking the parade route. He's standing. His biggest sin of the day was playing peekaboo with his little cousin while Trump was signing executive orders.
Yeah.
What do you expect a bored 10-year-old to do? And he got the baby there. He didn't do anything wrong. He
Yeah.
wasn't being disgraceful or anything like that. People with no self-esteem attack kids.
Yeah,
That's-
I agree.
that's what it
I
is.
agree. It's just that's
You hate Trump, that's fine. You can shoot all that. Trump's a big boy. He can take him and he can fire him back at you. But leave his kid alone.
Yeah,
Please.
I don't need all that. Let's call it for what it is. We got 4 years to go, or 8. let's get
or
to where
less.
we're gonna
Some
go.
people think that he's going to be impeached after the first year or during his first year. That's a lot. That's a lot of the thing. And by the way, again, social media was like a freaking toxic waste site all day yesterday from people wondering when is a good soul going to step forward and put a bullet in Trump. If that happens, we're still screwed because Pence is going to make us put a wall around our vaginas. If you thought 9/11 was a bad day for America, this is even worse. This is worse than 9/11. All that sort of stuff. Brother, you need to look at Twitter and search that. There are people who said, this is going to have more lasting effects than 9/11. This is going to have more. This is a dark day for America.
What I told people yesterday was like, look,
it's disgusting.
No matter what happens, it is what it is. The situation. Let's look at it this way. What if this turns out? You know what I mean? Everybody's all down on this.
People don't want this.
People don't want this to turn out.
They don't want it to turn out.
But what if it does turn out? Then we just Washington was just turned on its side, and the standard typical politician that stereotype is now blown out of the water now, and you can't do that.
And you know what? If you're a Democrat or super liberal or something, you should be happy that Trump's in there, because even if he has a terrible presidency, he's gone. Not only is he gone after 4 years, but you have a Democrat back, and the next Democrat to run is probably going to be some sort of super duper liberal who's going to be as progressive as anyone we ever make Obama look like Ronald Reagan probably. So
because it's going to be that Bernie side, because he attracted all that. He attracted all that before. It'll be as close. I mean, it'll track to that side.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I believe this wholeheartedly, just based on the MSNBC people and the CNNs and stuff like that. Is if that wasn't Trump yesterday, if it was Ted Cruz, if it was Marco Rubio, the same people be in the streets screaming and crying and wailing. Maybe not. Trump is a very polarizing cat. I get that, and there are people on both sides of the aisle who don't want anything to do with him, but. This is just an excuse for them these anarchist liberal crybabies to act like this because Trump said something about the anatomy of a woman and all this. But I guarantee if it was Ted Cruz, people hate Mike. They think Pence is the devil, right? So it doesn't matter who it is from the GOP side. There would be there are people in the street. There would be people in the streets anyway. So that's why I don't feel bad for anyone who's screaming and crying about Trump.
I think it's
you got
pretty
what you
much
deserved.
Safe to say that we're probably setting a record in DC right now with the word vagina on the number of down there.
Can we order a hat and feature that on the show?
What?
A hat.
I don't understand what that is.
They're wearing. You don't hear, but you don't know what the hat is.
I have no idea. I just
People
thought you were going rogue. I don't know.
What do you mean? That's not a bad word. You could say that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm standing up now. Actually, I might stand up because my watch tells me.
No, that's some of the groups are going to be wearing hats that look like the female genitalia. Because apparently, it's under assault right now because you can't suck the brains out of a baby living inside of you. That's the assault. That's the only thing that feminism is about, apparently, is the choice to terminate life.
Oh, my God.
I'm not going to start with this stuff.
Let's
I'm going to calm down.
Exactly. But you're doing it in a nice fashion, though.
I'm going to calm down. We do need the hat, though.
We will get that. If there's one thing we can get, it's that.
That's a great transition to who's been listening to the Exit 58 podcast.
The hats, I mean the hats.
Judging by some of the pictures I've seen, never mind.
We now return to Barry's Moving Out, brought to you by General Motors, Planned Parenthood, and Solyndra.
Mr. Obama, sir, the Trump family will be arriving within the hour. Is there anything I can do to assist you?
No, Josh. I've got everything under control here. Just looking for a few odds and ends. Say, have you seen my copy of Rules for Radicals? I borrowed it from Reverend Wright. He gonna be pissed if it's lost.
Sorry, sir, I haven't seen it. What about this box? Maybe it's in here.
No, that's my box of leftover Obama phones. Michael Moore was supposed to stop by and pick him up on his way back to Michigan. But I heard he's stuck in the McHenry Tunnel.
Probably lots of traffic for the upcoming Trump inauguration. Barf. Gag.
No, literally his big fat ass is stuck in a tunnel.
Oh. Whoa. Is this a baseball sign by all the Chicago Cubs?
You like that, huh? Had those boys in here a couple weeks ago. I got them all. Brian, Rizzo, Pippen, Rodman, Donder, and Blitzen. And that popular Latino fella, too. Pretty cool, right?
Boy, you sure are a sports nut, Mr. President.
No, right? Good luck finding Trump on 6 p.m. Sports Center time soon. He don't even know how to hold a hockey racket. Okay, let's see now. I got my Beer Summit photo album, golf balls, my trusty executive order pen. Oh, the Trumps are here, and they're early. Michelle, get your bags and grab the herbs. No, honey, I said the herbs, like from your herb garden, not the herb. You can leave that for Donald. He's gonna need it.
Mr. Obama, sir, wait. You dropped this folder. Looks like there are some pretty important papers in here.
Oh, better let me have that. That's the old birth certificate. Bet you're curious, huh?
Not in the least, sir. Those birthers are nothing but a bunch of flaming racists.
You bet they are. Besides, it's no one's business. I was born in Kenya.
Oh, you mean Hawaii, right, Mr. Obama?
Right. That's what I say. You know, Josh, you've been a big help to me over the years. I'd like to give you something very near and dear to me as a thank you.
Oh, wow, sir. Is this what I think it is? An authentic Che Guevara t-shirt for me, really?
One of my favorites. On second thought, nah, you didn't build that. Redistribute that t-shirt back to me. Okay, gotta run. Look me up next time you're on the south side. Barry's out of here. Still hasn't completely sunk in that he's the president.
I know.
It still hasn't sunk in.
It still feels new.
It's still, and it's been what? It's been over 6 months.
Yeah, it still feels new for some reason. I don't know. The novelty hasn't worn off.
Because he really hasn't changed his persona as he promised he would since becoming president. He still tweets 24/7. He's still as boisterous and loud as he's always been.
I've said this before. I know this is maybe not a popular thing to say.
What are you saying?
I truly believe that somewhere in this man's soul, he can do this.
Of course he can do this.
That's why he was elected.
Somewhere in this man's soul, he can do this. But if he just gets...
Look, here's the thing. You're not going to shoot him. You're not going to tell this guy.
A 15-year-old.
You're not going to tell this guy who has run his business in a certain manner after all these years. You're not going to tell him to change his mind and get in line with the whole political scene, which is polished.
That's the whole reason why he won.
That's the whole reason he won. So he's sticking to what got him where he got. So that's who he is.
So,
and I will say, and we were talking about this off mic before we got started here. Earlier today, and again, we're
love champagne. Oh
it's very it's just hitting the spot really well, and we're down to about I should
have gotten 2 bottles.
A quarter.
I should have gotten 2 bottles. That's a shame on me.
Okay. His speech in Poland was terrific. The best thing that he has done since speaking engagement he has done since becoming president, in my opinion.
He's done a couple of good things, but.
He just needs to not do the petty things, but he does it because it gives him an advantage, whether it's perceived or otherwise.
Yeah.
He's getting the leg up on his detractors.
Right. So he's in the mix as well. Certainly,
Yep.
Barack Hussein Obama
yes.
is in the mix as well as President 44. We already talked about Hillary. Michael Phelps swimming in that water. In that dirty water.
Remember this time last year was Zika water. It was
poop
water. It was everything, man. He was swimming across, that dirty Brazil water, and he went out on top, though, man.
Now he's
him and Boomer.
Remember
him and Boomer?
Boomer.
Now he's swimming a shark.
How's that thing going down, by the way? How are my skills?
Heavy.
Oh no!
You have a heavy hand, sir. Well, that bottle weighed probably about 50 pounds.
I gave you 2.5 fingers, and I made you drink.
Is that good?
No, I'm just kidding.
Jeez.
No, thank you. No, I gave you, yeah.
He probably could right now. You wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm doing it right now.
No, I gave you 2.5 fingers because Sinatra with his jack used to do 2 fingers.
What does that mean?
So you put the glass on the table itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then you basically just put your 2 fingers here,
Oh.
and that's how you kind of measure. It's about 2 shots.
Cool.
Yeah. So what I did was I gave you a 2 and a little smidge more because you seem to enjoy them, and then I put the rest of this tonic and ice. I put a lot of ice in there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but wait a minute. This glass, the bottom of the glass is like.
Well, that's why I gave him.
Though.
That's why I gave him a little extra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I gave him a little extra.
Yeah, that's.
Let me take a taste of that.
That's
actually.
that's
you deserve
glass.
it.
Yeah, let me
deserve
taste
a
of
taste
that.
of
See
that.
how I
Yeah,
did with
you
this.
made it.
Keep talking about Michael Phelps while I get in this water myself. So Michael Phelps on the list. Sorry about that.
All right.
That's delicious. I should make one myself.
You should.
Who else on the list, Derek? This nomination process.
This one, oh boy. How about Jenna Jameson?
When did we talk about her?
Jones just threw her on there. Future friend of the show.
Okay. See that
What?
on that right-wing agenda,
What right-wing agenda?
making stuff up. She was discussed in a previous show.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, that's beautiful.
She was discussed on a previous show because she obviously her previous vocation she was a movie star. So her
Sure was. Stardust.
so she has changed her way of life, and now she is a heavy conservative online. And somebody here on this panel started following her on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, I do remember this episode.
Yes, started following her on Twitter and is trying to pursue an interview with her.
And she is a brand new mother this past year as well.
Yeah,
Good for her.
yeah,
I like her. And she will be on in year 2.
Year 2. Her and the My Pillow guy.
Mike Pence is guaranteeing that we will set foot on the planet Mars over the course of the next 4 years. I'm telling you, we will have Jenna Jameson on this podcast.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
boy.
Year 2. That would be
In
spectacular.
year 2.
Maybe she can be part of the social club. Our new segment. I like that. Be beautiful.
One guy we may not be able to get is our final candidate,
Okay.
Thomas Brady.
Who apparently has a new book.
Yes.
And what is the title of his new book?
The new book is called The TB12 Method. Yes. And it is...
He has his own method, huh?
Yes, of course. The guy's the greatest winner in American history. So,
Excuse me. Have you ever heard of Bill Russell?
okay, Bill Russell was playing against Dennis in the NBA when he played.
Wow.
You really don't like black folks, do you?
No, I stole that
You know-
take from Michael Rappaport. No, I understand that he won.
He's
he
the
won 11
greatest. He is the
championships.
greatest winner, and definitely in sports history.
By the numbers, no one in American sports history will ever win 11 championships.
Okay.
Ever.
In 13 years.
In 13 years, yeah, that will never happen. And the thing that gets lost in all that is he was a coach.
Yeah.
Yes,
Too.
he was.
He was a player coach. So that's just spectacular. So I say that in jest. Brady is the greatest American modern winning machine in sports, surpassing Michael Jordan. He is.
Whoa, excuse me?
Yes, he has surpassed Michael Jordan.
Really?
Yes.
I have to agree with you there.
Yes.
How has he surpassed Michael Jordan? When did that happen?
Sure, he has not won 6 championships.
No.
I mean, if you.
Nor has he ever won 3 in a row.
It's the NBA, so it's a little different. It's not as easy to win 3 in a row in the NFL
Cheers,
as it
mate.
is
Cheers,
in
mate.
the NBA.
Is this a widely held opinion, or is this you just being revolutionary? Now?
I'm being revolutionary right now. I'm stepping out there on that island.
You wouldn't say that if Michael Jordan was sitting right next to you right now.
Absolutely,
He would choke you like
No.
that Santa Claus, and that picture is choking you.
No,
On your hand, would be choking the hell out of you right now.
No, I'd be on a stretcher.
You
right
sure
now.
as hell would.
Yeah, we know how. That wouldn't end well.
And then Michael would probably try to, pick sides and bet when
in all
wouldn't go
fairness,
off.
Michael, look at the teams you beat in the finals. Big deal. Those teams will get swept by Golden State today.
Well, I mean, look, I love Mike. I love Mike, but what Brady has done is just it's out of this world. It's out of this world. This man
is doing things now to help people. This man is a world champion.
So, all right,
He's
enough.
doing
Stop.
he's doing
to help
things.
people. What is he doing to help people?
He just wrote this book.
That's helping people.
Yeah.
How much did he write?
his
When did
publicist.
he?
The TB12 method.
Did he write this?
It is not
What is the
just.
method?
It is not just for athletes. Let's read an excerpt.
wrote this?
Brady
come on,
offers the
stop.
principles behind pliability, which is at the heart of a new paradigm shift, and movement toward a more natural, healthier way of exercising, training, and living, and one that challenges
bunch
some
of
commonly
bullcrap.
held assumptions around health and wellness.
Do you even know? What you just said?
No, I don't know what you said. And I like the guy.
Do you even know what you just said?
He's number one. That's what I just said.
And he's also a Trump supporter.
He's the greatest quarterback of all time. That's what I just said.
Wow.
Okay, great. I happen to agree with you. How about that?
An American winning machine.
All right.
But did he win this category? That's the question.
Here, open the envelope, Ollie. Tell us who won here. No, enough of your bloviating about
All right,
Brady.
here we
Yeah,
go.
I forgot what the nominations were. all the
Here
time.
we go.
God almighty.
Here we go.
The greatest winner in American history versus Jenna Jameson.
Yeah.
That's a fair fight.
And the winner is the 45th president
Yes,
of the
Donald
United
J.
States.
I love
Donald
this. It's tremendous
J.
honor. It's tremendous to be here.
Really good.
Really, really good award ceremony. You guys do it the best.
That's fair, right, Derek?
I don't
How could
agree
you not
with
vote
this. I don't necessarily
you don't
agree
agree
with
with it.
this.
Look,
I don't necessarily
listen, you
agree
can hear
with
the Trump train in the background. Listen to that. Listen, you can hear the Trump train. There it is. It's still rolling.
It's a choo-choo train.
But this is out of deference to the listeners and to the people that support the Exit 58 podcast.
If not him,
I'm
then who?
doing this.
Then
I'm
who?
doing this for you.
And don't give me none of this Brady mumbo jumbo.
I'm gonna tell you. You're not gonna like this.
Barack Hussein Obama.
No.
Oh.
H. Yeah. She would be my person of the year if it's not Donald.
It's the Exit 58 podcast awards.
Yes. Get her a pin drop.
We are now taking for year 2 open auditions for Derek's seat.
Yeah, no kidding.
Actually, we can't do that. He only knows how to operate the damn equipment
no.
around here.
Like the kid when you were younger who had like the baseball and the bat.
And you couldn't kick
You
him off
had-
the
you
team.
had
to-
You had to
play
be
baseball
friends with
with
him
him.
almost all the time.
Had to invite him to play, man.
Mm,
Had to.
bummer.
You just want to. You're just trying to do.
Well, you
win
know, the
votes?
show wouldn't have that dynamic
yes.
if Jones was marching step and toe with us. It's
Right.
good that he's flies his
Wrong.
own flag. Yeah, right. I was trying to be democratic, but you're right. Right. It's good that he's wrong because it gives us a foil for the show. It's good.
A heel.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the heel.
That's right. You do a good job with that.
I'm the foreign heel of the show.
Wow. So there you go. Our final Jonesy handed out to Donald J. Trump, the
That's
President of the
unbelievable.
United States.
I felt like we just started giving out the Jonesies, and it just so happened that we're already at that moment that we're out of it. It's 1 year in. 1 year in.
That will do it for our very special edition of the Exit 50A podcast. Stay tuned because coming up next week, we will be back in the saddle as we, good Lord, believe it or not, start to close in on Thanksgiving already. Ugh, way too early to start thinking about that. But nonetheless, we're just about there. Rate, review, subscribe to the Exit 58 podcast. Until next time, have a good one, everybody.